Today on Week in Review, the Tears to Hope relay took place recently. Ellis Ross has been appointed as a shadow minister, and Northern BC residents should be getting more reliable access to healthy food. Hello, I'm Cael Maslin, and thanks for joining us here on Week in Review, where we cover all of the news here in the Northwest from this past week. The Tears to Hope relay got underway this past weekend, with runners taking on 10-kilometer legs of Northwest BC highways to support the organization, encouraging public understanding and raising awareness about missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls on the Highway of Tears. CFTK-TV was there for the event's wrap-up.
It was an honor to watch, them pushing through, because some had stopped and were like, man, I don't know if I can, but they did it. And I'm so honored to be here amongst the runners, the families. I know a lot of family members that have missing loved ones. I personally have missing family members, murdered family members. So it really means a lot to be here to support Lorna and Denise and the families.
First and foremost, I'm a family member. My cousin Tamara Chipman went missing on the Highway of Tears just outside of Prince Rupert in September 2005. So this September will be 20 years that she's been missing, and we don't have any answers as to where she disappeared. It's an honor to do this work, to have so many allies amongst us, so many family members. It's not work that we chose to do, it's work that chose us, and it's heart work. It's heart work that we do right to the bottom of our heart.
Mine is, her name was Joyce Marie Cardinal. She was beaten and doused with gasoline in Edmonton in 1993. She passed away a few days later, and we are one of the lucky ones that got justice. The guy happened to be at a party bragging about what he did, and somebody was like, is this guy for real, right? Called it in, and that's how they caught him. And he went to prison for he got life. And, we're lucky. There's so many families across BC, across Canada that don't have that don't even know where their loved ones are. We're lucky. It's sick to even say that we're lucky to have justice, but that's the reality for a lot of families across Canada.
Skeena MP Ellis Ross recently headed to Ottawa in order to be sworn into the new government, and he was also appointed into a shadow minister position as well. CFTK-TV asked him how he felt about going into both of those positions.
I actually just got appointed to be the shadow minister for environment for the Conservative Party. We're the official opposition in the House of Commons in Ottawa. It means a lot to me because that's where I got my start. I actually started looking into environmental issues in Kitimat back in 2003, 2004, which then led me to understand what Aboriginal rights and title was. But really, to understand all of that, I had to understand project development as well as the economy. So it really brings me back to my roots. Hopefully I have an experience not only as an Aboriginal leader, but also as a past MLA in Victoria for Skeena. But also I want to know, where is Canada heading? The Liberals made some pretty heavy promises in terms of getting the economy going, given that the United States was imposing tariffs on Canada. Now, the Liberals promised to get the economy going by invoking the Emergencies Act, which I'm incredibly curious about, because invoking the Emergency Act usually means that you want to override some rules. So I'm kind of curious, what kind of rules will you override? Will it be environmental assessment rules? Will it be procedures? Will it be policies? Will it be workers' rights? Will it be Aboriginal rights? I have never seen any government in Canada invoke Emergency Act just to get an economy going. So there's a number of different things I'll be looking for in terms of where does Canada go in terms of its economy, as well as its trade with the rest of the world.
With the recurring trend of assault perpetrators being quickly released back into the public, we also asked MP Ellis Ross for his take on bail reform, with him saying that he's very aware of the issue.
So we've been talking about that for the last 7 years of the BC legislature. There's no consequences for anybody committing crimes. There's no consequences for anybody carrying 2.5 grams of fentanyl or cocaine or heroin. So regular citizens, law-abiding citizens are paying the price for this. And it's a blame game between the Victoria legislature and Ottawa. It's bail reform, basically what everybody's asking for now, to keep these dangerous offenders behind bars, put them in jail, and I agree with that fully. They shouldn't get 3, 4, 5, 10 chances. I mean, there's a number of offenders in Vancouver that have got a rap sheet, as long as my arm, but they keep getting released. In the meantime, what does the government do? They actually go after the law-abiding citizens with the idea of taking away their firearms. Law-abiding citizens. And by the way, Mike de Jong was a past Attorney General for BC, the BC government under the BC Liberals, and he offered a solution to the BC government 2 years ago in the legislature and saying there's ways around federal legislation. You can dictate what to do with these dangerous offenders, but it was ignored. So there's been plenty of opportunity, but number one, if the blame game's not going to stop between Victoria and Ottawa, then basically it's our job as the opposition in Ottawa to make sure that the government does something once and for all for bail reform, to make sure these dangerous offenders have consequences.
An investment from the province will mean more reliable access to healthy food for people in northern BC. CFTK's Cael Maslin has more on that investment.
The Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction say this support for local projects will address unique food access challenges in rural, remote, and First Nations communities. It will also increase the capacity of food access organizations to meet increased demand for their services due to global inflation. This funding, part of $5 million announced in 2023, is distributed through 2 streams to support better food access in northern BC. Projects include using existing transportation networks to improve food delivery, building the first school farm in northern BC, which will provide fresh fruits and vegetables for school meals, constructing greenhouses in school communities, and partnering with Indigenous groups to support sustainable and culturally relevant food infrastructure. Velma Sutherland of Sikidak Glenvowel First Nations said this is a step toward revitalizing Gitxsan foodways, honoring the knowledge of our ancestors, respecting the animals that sustain us, and building a stronger, self-reliant future for our people. This investment is part of $200 million in funding announced in 2023 to strengthen the food supply chain throughout BC.
Up next is a look at Prince Rupert's ongoing roundabout project. Welcome back. Now we look to a report on another major construction project that's going on in Prince Rupert and shows how it can help out their ongoing water pipe replacements. The city of Prince Rupert is dealing with a couple of construction projects at the moment, and while the replacing of their long outdated water and sewage distribution systems has understandably taken up much of the attention and headlines, another major bit of work that is set to come to fruition before long is the creation of a roundabout in the middle of the intersection at 2nd Avenue at McBride Street on Highway 16. But as it turns out, not quite everyone in the area is on board with this particular project, and Prince Rupert's Mayor Herb Hahn spoke about why that may be the case, in addition to highlighting some benefits from the project that people wouldn't expect to get from it on the surface.
People are obviously of divided minds, both about the roundabout itself. Some people think they're great and some people don't like them at all, and that's fine. There's also some misunderstanding around, why when water and pipes and all those things have been such a high priority for the city, why people think, why would the city spend that kind of money on a roundabout? And the reality is the city's not spending any money on a roundabout, But the process of doing the roundabout is actually giving us about $8 million worth of water pipes work. When they do the roundabout, they have to dig down and do the pipes that lie underneath. And those are very deep pipes, very, very expensive to reach. And so one of the bonuses for the people of Prince Rupert, whether you like a roundabout or not, is that the provincial taxpayer, so shared amongst 5 million people instead of 12,000 people, is going to be $8 million worth of work there that advances the water project.
Pond also expressed his belief that the roundabout will be a great addition to the area, although the actual construction of the roundabout will be handled by the Department of Highways. The mayor then went on to list some other good things that should come out of the creation of this project.
It's going to create a real central focus, whether you're coming down McBride, whether you're coming up from the waterfront, whether you're coming down 2nd Avenue. We have the potential to do a really amazing piece of art in the middle of that. It'll give a better view of the courthouse, and it will absolutely improve pedestrian safety. Instead of having to cross 4 lanes of traffic as you do today, and there's been a lot of near misses in that intersection. It will provide much better opportunity for pedestrians to make their way through that area.
While work on the project has officially begun, it's not that noticeable at the moment, as it's mostly of the surveying variety. But as for when it might be properly completed, the province of BC has estimated that it should be finished by the fall of 2026. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cael Maslin. First responders from Terrace and Thornhill came together this week to put on a presentation of a mock accident so that students can get a first-hand look at both the reality of dangerous driving and also the vital role played by first responders.
First responders worked with the Caledonia drama students as a team to put on a mock collision demonstration Monday.
Basically to show the effects of at-risk driving, so drinking and driving, texting and driving, and the complications that can come with that.
We organized this multi-agency mock collision to try to bring awareness towards the danger of high-risk driving, whether it be impaired driving, not wearing seat belts, distracted driving, especially within the youth because they're such at-risk people. So we wanted to get this together around grad time because that's when we see the unfortunate fatalities or serious collisions that change the direction of people's lives or end them, and to try and prevent that, to be more preventative than reactive.
Chief Brousson says the event took about 6 months of planning.
The RCMP, ambulance, and myself with the City of Terrace Department have been talking about it and planning it. This required off-duty members from BC Ambulance, from police, as well as the fire department to come in, and everyone worked together, and we were able to show kind of how, when the time is really needed, everyone comes together and a smooth working relationship can happen.
Sergeant McLaughlin says students got a very accurate portrayal of a real accident scene.
We show up and we're there to do our specific roles, but obviously during these, people need extra help. So we help out where we can, whether it be fire, with ambulance or police, just keeping people under control, and it was a very good depiction today of what actually occurs at one of these.
My role was to be an intoxicated passenger in one of the vehicles.
One student called the experience an eye-opener.
Like, not to drink and drive, and like how dangerous it is, and like how many people would die if you drank and drive.
It definitely gave me a hands-on perspective of how loud and intimidating it can be, and definitely how scary it would be for someone in that situation.
And not only did the students get an example of a collision, they got an example of first responders in action.
Well, that would be my hopes. I use this, I believe it's a great proactive way to show kids the danger, but I also look at it that they can showcase what we do and the cool jobs that all of our agencies do.
Chief Brousson says the best way to learn about the job is to come in and ask about it.
I would say come into the department, BC Ambulance, to the RCMP detachment, into the Terrace Fire Department, and sit down and talk with the members. Ask them their experiences, why they like the job, what drew them into the service, and for myself and for all of us, I know it's the passion and the commitment to not only the residents, but it's a calling. It's a calling that we all kind of feel very strongly about, and sit down and talk with the people that have done it, pick their brains, and maybe it's going to be for you.
For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
Earlier this month, the Terrace RCMP returned a historically significant carved and hand-painted paddle to a Kitsum-Cael Nation family. The paddle was initially found by the Vancouver Police Department, who then contacted the Indigenous Policing Services of the Terrace RCMP detachment and made sure that they were able to give it back to the Wesley family. The family lost the paddle several years earlier after it was taken during a residential break-and-enter. After the break, the city of Terrace recently celebrated the opening of some pickleball courts. Welcome back. The Terrace RCMP have made yet another drug bust in Terrace, but it didn't lead to any immediate charges. RCMP say that as part of an ongoing investigation into drug trafficking, the Terrace Crime Reduction Unit executed a search warrant at a residence on Monroe Street on May 10th. They say that 9 individuals in the residence were arrested. Mountie seized suspected cocaine, crystal meth, illicit pharmaceuticals, contraband tobacco, imitation firearms, and a large sum of cash. The arrested individuals were released with no process, however, and the RCMP have said that the file does remain under investigation. In their latest weekly reports, the Kitimat RCMP talked about a recent multi-day community event that they attended amongst their usual reporting of crimes that they encountered in the past week. The police detachment was invited to go to Heisla Days in Kitimat Village on May 17th and 18th, and throughout those 2 days, officers took part in a few different events, one of which was called Paint the Police Vehicle, where a police truck was used as a canvas for the attending artists of all ages. And while the art that was put onto the vehicle was complimented by the Kitimat RCMP, the truck had to be washed off once the event was over so that it could properly return to service. A lesser-known sport that's rising in popularity locally can now be played within a more practical setting in Terrace, a fact that was celebrated by the city towards the end of last week. Yesterday evening saw the city of Terrace host an official neighborhood event to act as a soft opening for their brand new pickleball courts that are located near Skeena View Park and are right behind the Heritage Park Museum. And the idea for the creation of these new courts had initially come about a couple of years ago.
The city of Terrace was approached originally in 2023 by the Pickleball Club, expressing a need for additional pickleball courts as the sport has been rapidly growing in our community. And so we did look into this project for about a year before we decided to convert one of the tennis courts into 6 pickleball courts.
The repurposing of the courts was done over a 6-month or so span throughout the summer of 2024, and the City of Terrace's Parks and Recreation Director also gave some details on what the construction looked like and how the project went as a whole.
We did the project primarily in-house, so it was our maintenance crew that led the project. But we did contract out the fencing, but it involved sealing a lot of the cracks that were existing in the courts and then ordering the very specialized paint and painting the courts and then painting the lines. So all of that work was done by our maintenance staff. We were battling with some of the weather because it has to be a very particular temperature in order to paint with the specialized paint that we had to use. So it was either too hot or raining or too cold. But yeah, it was a great project and a lot of different people involved in the planning and implementation.
The rise in the sport's popularity in the local area has even led to Terrace's own mayor to consider giving it a shot at some point in the future.
I'm not going to try it out today because I got to get down to the soccer field and coach some soccer, but I do think I need to get out here soon and try out pickleball because it sure does seem like fun and it seems great. There's all ages playing pickleball, so it looks like a wonderful sport.
While the exact number of people who showed up to the event isn't currently known, the turnout was still fairly substantial as many people got to test out their skills and enjoy the food that was provided there as well. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cael Maslin. The city of Prince Rupert recently released a statement that confirms that a carving that was given to them only a week ago by Chetwynd at the North Central Local Government Conference has been damaged. The chainsaw carving of a wooden eagle that had been installed in the park that is adjacent to the local hospital saw its wing get removed, although the city did not specify if the damage was done intentionally by someone or if the wing was taken off in some kind of accident. The carving, which is called Survival of the Fittest, was created by Jarrett Dahl and was given to Prince Rupert as a gift by the community of Chetwynd and is meant to symbolize inter-community connection and a shared appreciation for local artistry. BC's police watchdog says they're investigating police actions in an incident in Prince George from a couple of nights ago that left a man injured. The Independent Investigations Office of British Columbia said that at around 7:20 p.m., officers attempted to stop a vehicle, but the driver exited and allegedly shot at police before fleeing. It said that officers followed the suspect onto a Forest Service road where an altercation occurred that left the man injured. The man was then arrested and later got brought to the hospital. Still to come, some sites at a provincial park had to be closed due to bear activity. Welcome back. The City of Prince Rupert's Recreation and Community Services Department recently announced the launch of what is being called the FlexFit Mobility Program. This is the second enhanced mobility program that Prince Rupert has created, and this program is said to be a 7-week-long series of inclusive, adaptive recreational activities that was made to help seniors and people with mobility problems. The program began this past Wednesday from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. at the Prince Rupert Library. BC Parks announced that they had to close a small portion of their sites in the campground at Mesiadin Lake Provincial Park, and all that soft-sided tent camping has been prohibited for the time being due to some grizzly bear activity in the area. BC Parks said that their staff will be on site to monitor the situation and are actively working to deter bear activity. This video is from a caretaker at the site. Updates on the status of the campground at Mesiadin Lake Provincial Park can be found by visiting their website, and if your camping plans have been affected by the partial park closure and the temporary tent prohibition at Mesiadin Lake Provincial Park, BC Parks says as a reminder that Stewart is a short drive and offers a choice of campgrounds welcoming all types of campground users. Earlier this week, a brand new Union Hall was opened in downtown Prince Rupert on the corner of 1st Avenue West and 8th Street by the International Longshore and Warehouse Union Local 505, alongside their contributing partners like the Prince Rupert Port Authority, DP World, and the BC Maritime Employers Association. After it was initially announced back in April 2023, this hall now stands as one of the biggest ever commercial developments to be built in the Prince Rupert downtown core. The creation of the hall was led by the ILWU Local 505, and they provided most of the funds for the $8.2 million project, with the PRPA, BCMEA, and DP World also putting a combined $2.6 million into the project. The 3-story hall will act as a space that is meant to serve the growing Prince Rupert waterfront workforce, while also being expected to help boost northern BC's economic vitality. A University of Calgary researcher says a possible link-up of BC and Yukon's power grids makes too much sense to not take shape eventually, even if there are major challenges to getting it built. Jason Donev says many northern communities lack the affordable and stable power supply seen in the south, and linking Yukon's isolated grid would significantly improve local quality of life. A joint statement issued by BC and Yukon last week said they had reached an MOU that would guide intergovernmental collaboration through the exploration and planning phases of linking their power grids. That wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. Make sure to tune into our regular newscasts on Monday at 5, 6, 6:30, and 11 o'clock here on CFTK-TV. Thank you for tuning in and have a good weekend.